because of the promise of them, and I'm leaving from bondage to get to what? Freedom. So this is the promise. So what am I? I'm anxious to get to that promised land because God had made this promise to me. So I'm ready to get there. But I'm telling you, before you get there, don't forget. Don't forget where you come from. And then our lesson said, don't forget how you got where you are. Don't forget. So Moses emphasized this thing here, we are so easy to forget. We the same way. We forget. We forget where we come from. If we forgot $1 in our pocket, we forget about that day we didn't have a penny in our pocket. Why is that? It's so easy to forget. They forget. But Moses let them know right now, when you get there, I don't want you to forget who got you there. You didn't get there on your own. You got there through the help of who? God got you there. This preacher pointed up. God got you there. So when you get there, don't forget that. And people say, don't forget that bridge that what? Brought you over. Who was that bridge that brought them over? God. So when you get there, always remember the things that are designed to remember. I know you're ready to get there. But when you get there, don't forget how you got there. Think about it. Moses was ready to go there too. In the beginning, he was ready to go. But what happened? Moses missed it. What caused Moses to miss it? The people. So I told you in the beginning, people would call you to lose your joy. People would call that. But you got to keep your hand in the hands of a man who steals the water. When you got your hand in the man that steals the water, you are ready to get there. So Moses let them know now. When you get there, I don't want you to forget how you got there. So we begin this first topic. Look what the first topic says. The first topic says, remember the humble. Look at that word. How the topic said, I want you to what? Remember. There ought to be something about that. He keeps saying, I want you to write. Keep saying, I want you to remember. Do you have amnesia? When you get to a certain point in life, it seems like you get amnesia. I told you that my mother had selective amnesia. She remembered what she wanted. She hear what she wanted to hear. And what she didn't want to hear, she had amnesia. And sometimes I get that same way. Sometimes people talk to me, when I don't want to hear them, I have amnesia. I just forget. That's it. I like that selective amnesia. But what I don't want to have that amnesia that is really there, that you can't do nothing about. But as long as I got that selective amnesia, I'm good. So right here, Moses telling them, remember the humble. Now, when you say the humble, that means just to be what? Be honored to God. Remember that. Don't forget how you got there. We are so quick again to forget what we got there. We forget the people who help us get where we are. Once I get there, I don't need you no more. Have you thought about that, how people do this? They do that, they can say, I know I helped you got that job through the Lord. But once I get there, I'm the first somebody gonna turn my back on you. Because who did it? I did it. You didn't do nothing for me. I did it. But God did it. And they don't even want to give God credit. Who did it? I did it. Who caused you to go to school? I did. Who caused you to get those degrees? I did. Who caused you to live good? I did. Deacon said when you get to a certain point, I can fire you. Can I do any of that stuff? No. Who can do that? No. God. But what he telling us this morning? Remember how you got there. You did not get there on your own. God got you there. So you remember him. I like that now. You may forget me, but don't forget who? Him. Because it was him that got you. It was him that did what this morning? Woke you up. It was him that allowed you to come here this morning. So it's him to allow you to participate in something. It's not me. Give it all to him. So if we get that, it says, remember the humble, and read it. What do we have on our
All the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which the Lord swore unto your fathers.
Everything that I tell you, when you get there, I want you to do it. When you get there, it said that I want you to live. When you get there, I want you to multiply. Then I want you to possess this land. Now here's the word right there. All I want to do is just walk in that land. I'm just talking about. I always said walk in that land, but it didn't say it. What does it say it wants you to do? Possess. So what does that mean? It's not going to be just a walkthrough. You got to do what? You got to earn it. So when you look at that word, the land is promised to us. True. But right here it says you got to what? Possess this land. That means you got to go in and do something. I like about God. He don't want nobody to sit down. He wants you to do what? Work. He wants you to work. Work don't save you. But through work you are saved. Because you're saved by what? Faith. So that means if I sit down and do nothing, am I doing work? No. Because God wants us to work. What is my work I can do? I don't have to preach. I don't have to teach. All I have to do is what? Tell somebody. Is that work? What am I going to tell somebody? Tell somebody that God is what? Good. Tell somebody. So there you go right there. If you shut your mouth and don't do anything, is that work? No. You're not doing that. Right here, God told him, I want you to go in that land. I want you to possess that land. That means to possess that land, you're going to have to work. But then again, he said, I want you to go right where he said, I want you to what? To remember my commandments. He keeps saying that, I want you to remember my commandments. Moses telling me that. So God let me know, this is going to be yours. But you still got to remember who gave it to you. You did not earn this here. You have to earn this here, but you remember who gave you this here. So that's what we forget. He said, I want you to remember this here. When you get there, the land is yours. Isn't that something? Somebody tell me this is my land. All I got to do is just get there. But in order to get there, I got to do some work. So what some people would do is get like that. If I got to work, I don't want it. Isn't that something? If I don't have to work, I don't want it. I already told you, all you got to do is work. I told you, when I leave this earth in my house, that all you got to do is keep the house up. What happened? The house fall down. Oh, no. Why? Because you don't want to work. Daddy left his house and Mama left his house to me. This house won't stay there. But what happened? You got to work. But you know a lot of people now, they don't work. You see signs all over. And the sign said what? Hiring. And who needs to work? Everybody. What people do when they see that sign work, they turn around and go somewhere. Because there's the word, what? Work. What he just said. When you get there to possess this land, he already yours, but you got to do what? Earn it. And then you got to what? Keep it up. If you do that, he said, I'm going to multiply you. I'm just not going to give it to you, but if you do what I say, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you, then you got to work. And Rita, what did that next tell us about this?
And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thy heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no.
Wait a minute. I got to do what first? That word come right back. I got you. Humble. Then I got you what? Remember. Look how you keep saying. I got you remember. It says remember all thy ways. Who are you talking about? All who ways? All thy ways. I want you to remember all thy ways in this land. And when you do that, what happened there? They stayed in there for 40 years. Now, what was the reason that they stayed in that land for 40 years? Why? Because they disobeyed God. What was the reason that they disobeyed God? Why? What had happened there? Well, didn't do what God tell them? Well, I tell you. When Moses sent out the spies, now you got it. When he sent the spies out, and the spies came back and made their report. And they told them what? I hear somebody talking. The giants was there. That's one group said the giants were there. But they also told them what? The land is really fertile. The land looks good. We can do what to this land? We can take it. Remember, possess. We can take this land, but what did they say? I can't do it because you got to what? You got to work. Who you say that? John there. I can't do that. We got giants there. That's like us. We got giants. We can't take that land. But he says what? You can do it. But who said that? Joshua and Caleb told you can do it. But what did the other 10 tell them? Them giants up there, them big men. You can't take that land. Yes, you can. But what it say? God told them that the land was already there. All they had to do was do what God told them. So God told Moses to send those spies out. When the spies came back and told them the land is there. The land is good for your taking. All you got to do it. But what did they say they want to do? We can't do it. So what did God tell them? Since you can't do it, I'm going to let you stay here how long? 40 years. Now think about this now. The journey they had was an 11-day journey. Can you imagine? You got a journey for 11 days. And how long did you stay? 40 years. Now what's wrong with that picture right there? Disobedience. It's already yours. But since you disobeyed my word, you're going to stay around here for 40 years. And why did you go at 40 years? Round and round in circles. You know that song? Will they go round in circles? So what happened? They went round and round in circles. 40 years. And all you have to do was do what God said. The land is right there. But you took you 40 years to get right there. Because of what? Disobedience, Lord. So what am I saying? When you disobey God, that's a consequence. Dickens said, you messed it up. Look at that consequence. Some of those same people that started together, they left them right there. Because of what? They had disobeyed God. He let them stay there for 40 years and died out because of their disobedience. It's yours. It's yours for the taking. All you got to do is just go and possess this land. If God said, what the song said? If God said, yes, you believe it. If God said, yes, that's selling. If God said, do it. Like Nike said, just do it. Because who said it? God said it. So if God said it, all you got to do is what? Just do it. But what happened? They had that doubt in their mind because they said, if we got to do this here, I don't want to work. I don't want that there. If I got to work for it, I don't want it. And reader, what does that nation tell us about?
And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live.
Okay, since you don't want to do what I say, I'm going to send you out there for 40 years. Not only am I going to send you out there for 40 years, but I'm going to make you suffer. Now here's something sticky. Since you won't obey me, I'm going to make you suffer. So when you begin to suffer, what comes to your mind then? If you begin to suffer out there. When I tell you what come on their mind, he brought us out here to let us what? Die. What it said? We were doing good back in Egypt. Were you really doing good in Egypt? You wasn't doing good in Egypt. But since Moses led us out here to die, now you're going to make us suffer. We have no food. We done ran out of food. What are we going to do? No food, no water, and here I am. Back in Egypt, I had food, I had water. Now you brought us out here in the middle of nowhere, in this wilderness where it's hot. It says why the snakes and everything yet, and then I got nothing. But what happened all of a sudden?
You gonna die.
God there. Just as soon as he let them know, I tell you what, your father didn't know what I'm gonna do. You didn't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do it. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna give you some bread. What? You gonna give us bread? He said, and meat. But what happened? You got bread out of nowhere. All you got to do is go to sleep, wake up the next day, and what was out there? Bread. What he said, your father didn't do it. They didn't give you. So what God was telling you? What are he telling them then? Thank him. Believe in who? Me. Don't believe in what Moses did. I want you to believe in what? Believe in me. Because you know there was no bread there. When you went to sleep and you saw nothing. But all of a sudden, when you woke up the next day, when they woke up, what did they saw? They saw bread. And that bread was a mountain. And do you know what they said that mountain tastes like? It said it tastes like waffles. You know something? Yes, it tastes like waffles. Imagine. You go to sleep with nothing. And then you wake up and they just all out there for the devil. Who did that? Yeah. God. And I tell you what, since you got some bread, I'm going to give you a little meat. Did it do it? Yeah. What is it about the meat? The quails came down, and all you got to, here you go again. You got to work. All you got to do is what? Get them. And she's a big fella. But it said, all you got to do is just what? All you got to do is just get them. They're out there. So what happened? God gave you bread. Yeah. Then he turned around and gave you some what? Some meat. What was it that? It was in God's hand. Because you remember, when you went to sleep, what was there? Nothing. But when you woke up, it was there. And what did it taste like? How he made it taste just like waffles. Think about that. That means that was there. So that's what he telling me. Your daddy didn't know what he can do. Your grandma, but you can do it. Who did it? God did it. Your grandma can do it. Granddaddy can do it. But who did it? God did it. So that's what he's telling right here. The
next section.
That bread. We got about that bread alone. When you about that bread. But he tells us, you mean to us. The Spirit. So I mean, I cannot live on bread alone. I need meat is that spiritual food. What is that? Now I thought about when Jesus was out there, God gave him the word. He fed both of them. He fed them with the mouth. When Jesus was out there for 40 days, he fed him with the what? With the word. So he's still feeding. So look what God do. He can feed you. He fed him with the word, and the word was his word. He fed Christ with his word. So God is still feeding. He can still feed you today. Yeah. When you get down where you just can't get anything, who do you turn to? But you know what God will do. Why do we have to wait to get down to turn to God? That's right. Why can't we turn to God in the beginning? That's right. What I thought about is that same lady. There goes Dee. You know, read my mind with the issue of blood. What happened? She had tried everything. And who did she try last? And what happened? He got, did she heal? So why do we have to wait till everything go to try God? But you know why? He wants you to know that he can do it. I'm going to let you go to these doctors. I'm going to let you do all this here. But then when you come to me, I'm going to work it out. Has he worked it out for you? That's what God does. You know, that's what it is, these people right here. You know, they had ran out of food, and God worked it out. He gave them out. No money, they could say. They had nothing. But what is he provided for them? So that song that I always said, God will what? God will provide. What do he provide for you? When everybody else turn it back on. Who is there? When is he there? All the time. Ask these people. If we could go back and ask them, what would they tell us? He was there for us. How do you know he was there for us? Because we had no bread, and what he do? He gave us bread. How do you know he was there for us? We had no meat, and he sent us quick. So how do you know us? We had no water, and he made the water sweet. Who did that? Who able to do that? So when you try everything else, who do you try? Try God. He said, just try me. All you got to do is just try me. When you try God, he can always work it out. He hadn't failed yet. That's what I like about God. Come on, Deacon. You can say you wouldn't be gray head, and some of us might have a little hair down here too. Some of us, we might, but you know, I kind of like throw that out there. That kind of make me feel good about that. I did have some hair one day out there, but that's okay. All I can do is just what? Trust God, and he'll do it. Because David said he will work it out. He hadn't failed yet. So if you believe that, why don't you just what? Try my God. When you try my God, he's still going to provide for you because he did it right here. He gave them that bread. He gave them that water. I like it. And then it said, don't forget everything to come out of God's mouth. Proceeded out of his mouth of the Lord. So that means, I go back to that word, I want you to do what? I want you to always remember. I like the word remember. You know, don't forget where you come from. Some of us so easy to forget where we came from. But he tells us right now, I want you to remember where you come from. You know, some days you remember why you didn't have nothing, but right now you got a little something. Then what happened? You forget where you came from. I remember when I had to put water in the tub, hold that water in the tub, but now I got this what? Turn the faucet on. Young folks don't know anything about that. But old folks know about that. So what do? All you got to do is what? You remember. I remember the days I'm carrying them 8-foot kite sacks. Do you remember that? I remember the days young folks know anything about that this time, but we know about that. So now, 9 sack. We remember that. I remember them days, $3 chopping kite. Do you remember that? It's Jack, you remember that? 3.5. What is it? I remember that. But the key thing about this here, I remember that, but I'm not going to stay there. See, a lot of people, you met people that always say in the past, man, I remember when I did this here. Yeah, I remember when I did that there. Yeah, I remember when I was young. Yeah. So if you keep remembering, when you going to get to the day? Yeah. That's the problem. Yes, it is. You keep staying in the past. It's nothing wrong with the past, but you got to leave the past in the past and come to the future. I get tired of people saying, boy, this generation is something else. It is, but what it is? That's this generation. Can I take this generation back there? No, I can't. So you got to what? Live in this generation. Think about somebody every time you see, they remember when they was born. Talking about all them good old days. The good old days are what they now. What are they? Good old days. They are not coming back to be good old new days. So if you still with those good old days, you're going to miss something in this good new day. It tells us to remember. But don't let that remember keep your mind clogged up. You got to move to the future. The things I did yesterday, I'm not able to do those things today. Whatever that was, you got to let it go. I'm talking about our past today. Because we got to live for what? What we are today, and hope for live for tomorrow. You cannot stay yesterday and get into today. Does that make sense? I get tired of folks. Man, this generation, this new generation, this is the new generation. So what do we got to do as old people? Get into the new generation. That don't mean now, here we go. That don't mean for men to let our pants come down off our end. We got to keep our pants put up on us. And here we go, old women, that don't mean your dress to be so short. Okay. I'm talking about some old folks now. They can sound right. But that doesn't mean that, you know, back in the 70s when they wore them hot pants, old women, that don't mean I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay, that's what I'm saying. You got to come out of that, but that don't mean you got to go back into that. We see that today. But you can't do that because old women. You need to set an example for what? Young women. It's hard for a young old woman to set an example when your dress is short of them. They can't tell me nothing. But let's get out of there. I just want to kind of throw that in, but I can feel good on that bar right there. All right, and the other person. Anybody else got something to say? Wait. That's good. But here the question is this time. The question says, what lessons have God taught you in the wilderness of this world? Which of those did God have to allow you to repeat to ensure that you will hollow and have learned your lesson? What have you learned in your wilderness? What are some of your wilderness? You don't have to be in a desert to be in a wilderness. Things of the past? Do better? Not have money to pay your bill? Sickness can be your wilderness. Your children worry can be your wilderness. But what lesson have you learned from your wilderness to bring you and let God know? To lean on God. What else have you learned in your wilderness? We all have some wilderness in our life. Our wilderness may be in the days that we didn't know how we was going to make it. So that was our wilderness. So we stayed in that wilderness. But who brought us out of that wilderness? God brought us out of that wilderness. Now you probably wonder sometimes how we look, but that's okay. I want to let you know why. Because there was time we couldn't look at this here. Because what? We had a wilderness in front of us. But what was it? God brought us out of that wilderness. I didn't do it. My job didn't do it. My work and my job didn't do it. What brought me out of it? God brought me out of it. Now, it says, well, God brought you out of it. What makes you want to repeat that? Have you ever repeated some of your witness? I've been broke. Everything I get, I spend it. Still broke. But here it is. Everything I get, I spend it. So that put me right back where I was in my wilderness. What have I learned from that? Everything I get, I need to put something away. Because I'm coming out of my wilderness. Coming out the wilderness. But if you still doing the same thing you was doing, that means you're still in your wilderness. You haven't learned this thing yet. You should always. Then that's one of the words that sometimes we need to go back and what? Remember. Remember that when you was that you didn't have it. Now you got a little something. So you need to remember and thank God that you got a little something. Because one time you didn't have a little something. So that's a good thing right there. That's your wilderness. What is the
See, we do like God tell us to. He tell us in the word, burn your tithes off to the storehouse. And that will be me. But if you do what God tell you to do first, you don't have to go about that part of God.
You know what he said? Do what God say what? First. But what we just said earlier, we don't put God first. We put God second, third, and what? Fourth. We go to God last. But he said, if you bring it to the storehouse, then you have meat in your house. But what do? We keep it in our house. And we bring nothing to God's house. All we do is bring ourselves. I think God wants more than yourself. If he give you and allow you to work, you need to come back and do something here. How do you do it? Through your tithes and your offering. Give God. He wants some of your time too. Give him all that there. But what do? We give God 5 minutes. Some people don't even give God no minutes. Some people don't even come to church at all. But yet you're looking for God to give you what? Your blessing. I'm looking for my blessing. How have you blessed God this week? What have you done to bless God this week? They ask that question, they'll probably tell you, they get to run in their mind, looking, and think about it. You know, I really have done that. But what God still bless you, how did he bless you? Because you're still here. You could have been dead, but God still blessed you to be here. So that's a blessing right there. Think about your blessing. And I heard something. She may not want to share this with you, but I'm going to let her share it for a minute. Just listen what somebody said. We get into the lesson. Oh, this is good too. Miss Tracy, would you mind sharing your thought that you told me? Listen, people, we said it. Just think one second.
You know, the Bible says to love thy neighbor. I have some neighbors just moved in. I tell you, before they even moved to Ferguson, it was like the wild out west. I mean, gun shops was everywhere. And every police and Clarksville showed up. But then, we didn't know where to look, but last night, they had some new ones. And they came out and they said it was going to be a war last night. So when I heard them say that, I was on the phone talking to my friend in Virginia. That she said, Tracy, I'm going to pray with you. And I thank God for praying friends because this is the time of prayer because we are in trouble. But not only that, the young man came out and he saw me. He went back.
Just listen to this.
He went back. And I said to myself, well, I didn't get not one gunshot. Not one. These children had assault weapons and they had everything. But what you said about remember, the only thing you need to remember when you're sharing your past is to tell them how God brought you out. And if they don't repent of their sins now, then they're not going to be saved.
But tell about the little thing that we take for granted. Listen to this little thing. Tell about the little thing, Tony. This is a little thing.
That when you feed a person, you give them things God shares with you, they remember. And it changes their opinion about what they see in you. They see the Christ in you. And they'll say, I can't remember the child's name, but I do remember he told me when I saw him the next day. He said, I have been waiting on a blessing all day. And then I came and I was like, but when the Holy Spirit tells you to do something, you won't be able to do it because you never know how to set it.
Here's the little thing that you
And
can take.
he told me the next day, I shared what you have to do. And I said, that's the effect that the word has on, not just us, but on them too, even those that don't know me.
That's right. And here's didn't I tell y'all the little thing? She told me that this little boy was eating dry cereal without milk. And she asked him what he was doing. He said, eating cereal. Where's the milk? There was no milk. What did she do? She gave him some milk. See, now I tell you about the little things that we take for granted.
Yeah.
We throw away milk. We waste milk. Here's a child eating dry cereal because there was no milk.
Yes.
So I told you, the little things that we take that somebody needs.
Yes.
The things that we throw away,
Uh-huh.
somebody needs. Now, who else got a child saying he eating cereal and didn't have the milk?
Uh-huh.
Now tell me that's not bad. Well, look at us.
Yeah.
That's how I show how good God is. I had to bring it in because she told me about this and I thought about that. Some of the things that we take for granted,
Uh-huh.
and those are some of the things that people need.
Right.
And what gets me, I'm gonna have to say this, I'm gonna throw it out there. What gets me is that I see people on the side in the Roman sale. If you got a Roman sale, why don't you give to somebody who needs it?
Right.
And you notice that
Right.
if God was to do us like that, we'd be so mad.
Lord,
But you see people all over down the street with Roman
yes,
sales.
Lord.
Give it to somebody. If you want to sell it, let's give it away. Because I feel like if you don't want it, how do I want it? But if I don't have it, if you give it to me, I appreciate it.
Yes.
The little things that we take for granted, that's not what it's all about.
That's it.
God,
That's it.
we need to do what God be arm ourselves like God. That was good. Okay, let's move on. Now it said, remember the habitat. Remember where you was in that wilderness? That was your habitat. How long did you stay there? 40 years in that habitat. What you do? Tick, tack.
I want to know why they looking back here at me because you stayed wrong, stayed.
I don't like that. Well, it's that's what happened with fun. I just said I don't want us to what? Remember the things that we do. That's all. Now, it said, that's all right. We good. We're all family here. What I like about us, there's nothing but what? Love. Sometimes we express our love slightly different, but what I like is nothing but love out here. Now let's get what we're saying. The habitat is where they stayed for 40 years, and you stayed in that habitat for 40 years. You need to remember. And Rita, look down here.
Thy raiment waste not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years.
What does that tell me? What does that say? For 40 years, you out in the wilderness and your raiment still look like it was the first day you did. Who did that? God. And can you imagine? For me wearing this suit 40 years, if I'm here 40 years, and it still look like the first day I got it. Who can do that? That's what he told him. You was in this wilderness for 40 years with the same clothes you had on there, and they still look like you. Who did it? God did that for 40 years. And some of them say that not only that, the one that died, they can't get those clothes. But I don't know about that. It doesn't say that. It says that your raiment, it never waxed old, which means your clothes never got old. I didn't have to iron them. I didn't have to press them. I didn't have to wash them. All I had to do was get up and go. Now, who can do that? God, He's telling them that. You don't worry about that. I'm giving you this, and you don't have any change clothes like Him. Nobody can do that for God. You wore the same thing for 40 years. How many of us want to wear something for 40 years? Nobody. But when God is there, like He was there, they wore it, they had no problem. Because it said they never waxed old. That's what it's talking about right there. And then it said not only that, we complain about our feet swelling a little bit. What happened? They walked 40 years. And it said, what happened? It was just like they wanted. Who did it? God. Even though God did it to them, He still took care of them. Now tell me He ain't good. He put you out there, but He still took care of you. He fed you. It didn't say it. It just say what? They stayed out there 40 years. They clothes enough old, so they probably didn't have time because God was still in charge. Remember, they was going round and round in circles for 40 years. It didn't say nothing about bathing. We don't know. I can't ask what's not there. It didn't say anything about water, but God did give them water. So what Deacon said, it didn't tell have no water to bath in. It said God gave them water to what? To drink. So we got to just keep it like God said, because we just add to that thing, something wrong with that. So I don't want to speculate. In our mind, we probably say, yeah, but that's not what the Bible says. We better see what the Bible says. And then, read what is that on 5?
Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so the Lord thy God chasteneth thee.
What are you talking about right there? Discipline. Just like a man does his son. Now, when I put my boys when they were young, many times, I didn't put them just to be put them. I put them because of what they done wrong. I put them because, I hear somebody sneezing right there. I put them because of what I told them not to do, and they went on and did it. So what I do, I kind of gave them a little punishment, but that was not an angry punishment. That was a punishment of what? Of love. What God right here? He gave them a punishment of love. What was the punishment of love? They stayed in the wilderness 40 years because they what? They disobeyed God. Some of them died because they disobeyed God. So when you do that, just like a father chases son, that's what that means. It kind of, she said, kind of discipline. Have you noticed if you don't discipline your child, they don't discipline you? That's the generation I see right here. They tell you what to do instead of you telling them what to do. But they can say in your own house, they tell you what to do. This is my house, you're not going to tell me what to do. But it's the other way around now. This is the child house, they tell the parents what to do. So what is it? If God said it said, he said, you need to discipline your child. You need to discipline your child. Right. He didn't say child discipline parents. He said parents discipline child. Just like a father discipline son. He didn't say son discipline father. He said father discipline son, but it said chase. So we got this thing all tied up. We got to get back on something what God say. When we do what God say, it's going to be a different in our life. Read it, and what the nation tells us.
Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways and to fear him.
And 7.
For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of the valleys and hills.
Look what it said. Therefore, now he's talking about future. When you get there, therefore, thou shalt keep what? Look what it said. Keep God's commandment. It keeps saying it over and over. Keep God's commandment. Now that's one thing you don't forget. You know, we said some things we forget, but this one thing he don't get because he keeps emphasizing that. Remember God's commandment. He gave them those 10 commandments. I want you to remember those 10 commandments. Remember those things there. This generation gone, but I want you to remember those things right there. When you do that, what God tells you to do, I like that part right there. He said, this is going to be the future. What's the future? When you get into that what? Promised land. You know, all we were talking about last week, those people that had made it in the promised land, and look what happened. Right now, he's telling them, when you get into the promised land, I want you to do what? Remember. What I want you to remember? I want you to remember how you got there. I want you to remember how I took care of you when you got there. I want you to do what? Remember. All our three times said remember. I kind of like that right there. Then it says, when you get to that good land, look what's going to be in that good land. Those brooks, you're talking about rivers of water, fountains, deep water. Look what it's talking about. All this going to be in that when you get to that good land. Then it said the valleys and hills. All this going to be in the good land. It's kind of letting them know these are the things they're going to see when they get to that good land. What was that good land? That was the promised land. But you not only get in that promised land, you got to earn when you get to that promised land. Then when you get to that promised land, I don't forget how you got there. I don't want you to forget who took care of you when you were there. All those 40 years, I don't want you to forget that. Just remember those things when you get there in the promised land. That's what I like about God. He tell you. I don't want you to remember. Just remember saying how you got where you are. Remember how you got where you are. Nobody did that for God. So I want you to remember those good things there. And then, anybody got something to say? Well, here's one more question. It said, recall and share different unpleasant experience that God permits so that you could learn a particular lesson at that time. The purpose was unclear, but when it was over, you understood very clearly why God allowed it to be. Have you had an experience in your life that wasn't good, but then when it's over, you realize nobody but God did it? Have you ever had that experience in your life? That God let you do Go through a little suffering to let you know that he can do it. But I had that experience in my life. I told him I had that UTI. God let me know. You ain't what you think you are. I got you. I got you. I'm going to let you suffer a little bit to let you know what suffering is all about. You know, sometimes we got to suffer to let us know that God is still what? He's still in charge and God is still good. We forget about those things when we get up on our feet. We forget where we come from. But God said, I'm going to let you go back and remember how it feels to have some pain. Some of y'all remember how pain feels. Then that's just God. Nobody did that, but God will let you know how that pain feels. You couldn't do it, so God did it. And then, anybody else got something to say about that? Well, here we go for the last one. The last one says, remember the home. Now what happened here? It says, remember the home. He telling them, I want you to remember when you didn't have no food. When you didn't have no food, what did he do to them? He failed. So what I want you to do, I want you to remember them days that you was out there in the wilderness. What happened? He said he provided for them the whole 40 years. God provided. He gave them bread and he gave them meat. So I want you what? Remember that. When you get to that promised land, don't forget how you got to that promised land. I want you to remember that. And Rita, what we got for the next one?
A land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive, and honey.
Look at it. So keep on reading. Right now. Quote, everything out there you need. Look what's out there. Everything. Now read it. I know what you're saying. What are you talking about? Go ahead and read it. I like it.
A land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness. Thou shalt not lack anything in it. A land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou may dig brass.
What is he describing here? He describing the land. He telling them that everything that they need, where is it at? In the land. Everything that I promised to you, where is it at? In the land. Look how he described it to them. This is all you're going to need once you get there. I'm giving it to you. But remember again, you're just not going to walk in and get it. You got to what? Possess it to what to get that land. And then when you do all that, this stuff there, when it said, this is what you got to have. Reader, why don't you tell us about 10 and 11?
When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. Beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God, and not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
When you get there, and your stomach looks kind of like my stomach, full. So when you get full in your stomach, and you settle down, and you in the promised land, what did you tell them for? Remember. And she said, pray. I want you to remember when your stomach probably, they said, look like your back, front to the back. But what happened? He what? He gave them meat and he gave them bread. So what he said, I want you to what? Remember that. Don't get the big head. How you know how we get the big head? I got 2 bags of flour. One time I had no flour. And now I'm big head. I got 2 cars. One time I had nothing but bicycle. And now what? I got the big head. Here we go. I got 3 suits now. One time I had 1 suit. And what I got now, I got the big head. Who gave it to you? One time you had 1 dress. Now you got 2 dresses. So what do you got? You got the big head. You know, I heard people say I had 2 suits. I had a blue and I had a black. But now you got suits that you ain't know what color you got. What happened? But you forget. But what God tell you, don't get me to have 1 suit. And I heard the parents say that they had to put them hooks in the shoe. You know that. Put them hooks in the shoe. Because Ty don't think about that. Some of y'all know anything about that. He said tie wires in your shoe. Y'all know anything about that. But what happened now? I got new shoes like that. I don't have to. But I got plenty of shoes. But what happened? I don't want you to forget how you got there. Do you remember when you didn't have anything? Sometimes when you looked in your closet, you had 1 suit. Now you got so many you don't count. Sometimes you had 1 dress. Now you got plenty of dresses. Miss Sykes, move on. Okay.
Me and my sister had wear shoes tied with what? We didn't have no.
See, y'all don't know anything about that. We know about that. But what did he tell us? Remember that, but don't dwell on it. But always remember that because you had that. So God is still what? Good. And don't forget what he done for you. Don't forget that bridge that what? Brought you over. And then, I need to leave this in with you. As I begin to look at this lesson here, number game. You know, last week we were dealing with two numbers, 7 and 14. This week I began to look at a couple of numbers. The number we had was the number 40. It says the number 40 up here 146 times in the Bible. Can you imagine? 146 times the number 40. Then I thought about that 40. Moses lived for 40 years in Egypt. He stayed in the desert for 40 years. He stayed on Mount Sinai for 40 days and nights. Then he sent spies, 40 spies. But here's the good part. Jesus fasted for 40 days. Then it says Jesus appeared again after 40 days. Look at the number, 40. That's just a few things of 40. And then what it said, on his crucifixion, he had predicted that Rome would be destroyed. And 40 years after Jesus died, Rome was destroyed. So look at the number 40. Each number in the Bible has a meaning. When you go look at those numbers, and I thought since we were talking about 40, then I kind of throw that in today about our 40. We running overtime. I'm gonna throw myself and sit down. How you like that? 40.